supposed to wear the same thing.
Okay, welcome to the third annual awards presentation of the Fammy. My name is Gary Schneider. I'm the commissioner of this league.
Should be called the Fammy Awards.
The Fammy Awards, and I've been honored
to
commission the league this year when this was not even a real fantasy football season because it was such a fluke. But it's okay. First, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how weird of a year it was. We're going to go into a lot more details later, but not more needs to be said than the fact that Bijan got second. That just makes it a weird year in itself. Before anything else, last year Alex Stroll earned the Pink Poodle, and this year he earned it again.
Wow! Back to back!
Back to back! I was trying to talk about his experiences.
3P, yeah.
Many people say you shouldn't like a sore loser, which is why a lot of you don't like me. Pre-season, I was projected to go 13-1 to have the best team, but Yahoo must have downs. I'm going to go through my team and thank all of them for how terrible they did this year. Drew Brees, I can't really blame you, except for the one game you had 5 picks. That was terrible. Eric Decker, average year, decent best. Victor Cruz, traded Gronkowski, the man amongst boys, to James. Granted, he did get hurt 3 weeks after I traded him, but I could have won 2 games had I not traded him. And Victor Cruz, you did absolutely nothing after that. Marcus Colston, go make a Pro Bowl. You haven't done that. Alfred Morris, great rookie year. Fred Jackson, you've suffered more head trauma than any person I've ever seen, and was shadowed by C.J. Spiller the rest of the year. You were terrible. Owen Daniels, I don't know what I have to say about you. Pierre Garçon.
So much promise.
I'm just going to call him Greg Oden from now on because he just didn't play. Eli Manning, you have a dumb face. Darren McFadden, you were once known for being a great Razorback, but you're just a Razor bitch now. That about does it for my team. It was a terrible year.
Who's your kicker?
Go, that's irrelevant. But it was a good run. I'm going to hold the Pink Poodle with a lot of shame. But I will be giving it away next year.
I promise I won't get
And that's
Now I would like to present you guys with some interesting facts here. I went ahead and then calculated the total points that everyone had before and after the playoffs. It was interesting because this year there was people's records didn't necessarily display how good their teams were.
Or bad.
So if you were to take the total points for the players for the teams at the end of the season, Jack had the most. He was in first. The second was Bijan with 1777, who got second as far as the standings go at the end of the season. The third was James with 1771, just 8 points below Bijan, and James got ninth. Not third, fourth, fifth, ninth, with a record of 4-10. James also managed to shatter everyone else as far as points against. James had 1,829 points against. No one else had more than 1,600 points against, besides 2 people. Bijan had the least amount of points against. He got second with 1,587 points against. Yeah, Bijan had the least. So, Bijan may have gotten second, but did he deserve it?
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if there was no matchups in this league and we just did straight points every week through week 16, Jack would have gotten first, James would have gotten second, and I would have gotten third.
Okay.
Wow.
Liar.
Since we did matchups, the standings were completely different. None of those 3 people got first or second. Matt had the least amount of points by over 90. And he didn't get the last. And he didn't even get the last 2 seeds.
6th place.
James got 9th seed. Jack got 6th seed, and James outscored Jack by 240.
Matt.
Not Jack.
And I said Matt, not Jack. James outscored Matt by 240. Okay, a couple of things about Trevor.
17 points a week.
Trevor got 5th at the end of the regular season. Right? If Trevor played Will in week 14, which was the last week before the playoffs. If Trevor lost to Will by 1.6 points. If Trevor had beaten Will, Trevor would have made the playoffs and won the championship by 96 points. He would have beaten Bijan in the championship by 96 points if he would have just beaten Will by 1.6 in the last week.
Get your shit together.
Even worse, 3 weeks earlier, Trevor played me in week 11, and going into Monday night, he had Chicago Bears defense, and he was losing by 2 points. Chicago Bears defense scored him 1 point. And he lost by 1 point to me. Thank you, Monday night. If he would have won that game, he would have made the playoffs and won the championship by 96
Happy
points.
birthday!
That's at the end of the regular season. James and Alec got 9th and 10th. They didn't even make the consolation bracket. But Kyle and Matt had the least points by more than 60.
Had the least points.
But Kyle and Matt had the least points by more than 60, which is larger than a margin than a very normal margin of 1 week.
True.
The 4 playoff teams were Peter, Will, Jack, and Bijan. If James played every team every week, James would have been 71 and 55, and he got 9th place. Peter made the playoffs. He actually got 3rd seed, if I'm correct. He got 4th. He got 4th seed in the playoffs, and had a worse record than James. If he would have played every team every week, it was 68 and 58, and he got 5 seeds higher than James did. The average score for everyone every week was 120 points. The average score for the whole league.
Jack put up 210.
James scored over 130 points 4 times and lost.
Every single.
Will made the playoffs and scored less than the average of 123 times and won.
All.
So James